My topic this afternoon to you is that the international development and cooperation. As you know, that this is a global village. Developed countries have been assisting developing countries. This is just the behavior of normal international relations. Remember, our country, the Republic of China, Taiwan, we were facing a war-torn economy in 1945. At that time, the per capita income was only $100. And now, from the calculation of PPP, we have reached even almost $45,000. As I just mentioned, the Republic of China, Taiwan, was assisted by the United States, by the World Bank, by IMF, even by our diplomatic allies, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. If you ask your father or your mothers, they will tell you there is a bridge in Yinling County, Xilou Daqiao. The freeway, Xilou Daqiao's freeway section was financially supported by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And then Taiwan has been progressing, especially not only political reform, on economic development side, we have achieved our goals and has been reputed as emerging one of the 4 Asian tigers. That's why I say the international development and cooperation. This is just international relations. It's a must. Developed country, happy developing country. And the items of international development vary from financial assistance to infrastructure development, even to capacity building or others. And I had worked in 2 embassies. One as the Church Affairs of the Republic of China Embassy in the Commonwealth of Dominica 20 years ago. And 2008, I was the ambassador to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in the Caribbean. I had personally experienced the transformation of Taiwan's international development and cooperation. From the very beginning in 1960s, Taiwan were able to have our diplomatic allies. You heard of Mr. Africa. Mr. Africa, this is our Vice Minister Yang, who led a team to provide all kinds of assistance to our African allies so as to score their support in defending our seat in the United Nations. In one country called Burkina Faso, this is a French-speaking nation, our agricultural technical mission was able to turn a desert to a rice paddy in more than 1,000 hectares. In other words, we have contributed tremendously to our ally nations in terms of their agriculture, in terms of their infrastructure. And for the last 2-3 decades, Taiwan's international development and cooperation items has been transformed from agriculture to aquaculture, to handicraft, to fruits production, to tourism agriculture, even now so-called ICT projects. It means that information and communication technologies. I remember when I was ambassador, we assist the country I stationed to establish government protocol and maintain all the ministries protocol in that nation. And that was managed by our TDI only. One technician who maintained so-called internet sovereignty of a country. Now, let me move to the pros and cons of our international development and cooperation. I just want to give you an idea that how Taiwan positions itself in promoting the relations with our ally nations and what kind of efforts we put in and the result of it. As I just mentioned, those so-called ally nations, they benefited tremendously for our technological assistance, technological cooperation, even capacity building. So nowadays, if you label Taiwan's diplomatic endeavors as checkbook diplomacy or money diplomacy, this is unfair to all the diplomats, and even you humiliate yourselves because you don't know your countries has already contributed to the international community. Now, I give you one example. In the United Nations, there is a so-called, in the OECD organization, there is a so-called DAC, Development Assistance Committee. There is a regulation that any developed country has to devote 0.7% of their GNI, gross net income, to international development and cooperation. In other words, every country, every developed country, every OECD members, they have to allocate a certain amount of budget for the assistance of those developing countries, whether they recognize you or not. That is an obligation. Let me give you the figure. The diplomatic budget, the budget for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of our country, maintained the same for the last 20-some years. It's about 28 billion NT. Among these 28 million NT, only 10 billion, 300 million US dollar is allocated to international development and cooperation. And the percentage to the GNI is 0.05%. In other words, it's far less than the international standard, 0.7%. Let us take a look at our neighboring nations. Japan every year devoted 20 billion. It varies from different years. Before COVID-19, 24 billion US dollar from Japanese government budget to assist developing countries. Korea, almost 3 billion US dollar. And Republic of China, Taiwan, only 300 million US dollars. And then people will say, why you assist those diplomatic airlines? I tell you, if you want to be the sovereignty state, you need international recognition. And those airline nations, they recognize the Republic of China is a sovereignty state. If I don't assist those airline nations, who do you believe I have to provide my financial, technical assistance to them? Sure, I have to cooperate with our airline nations. When 32 to 23 to now 12, still they are our strong supporters in international arena. So for those who fall in the future, people merely telling you that diplomacy of the Republic of China is a kind of checkbook diplomacy, money diplomacy. Please tell them we are not supposed to say that, because Taiwan used to be assisted by the international community, and then today we are able to help other countries. We should do that. The Republic of China has been praised as one of the most efficient nations in utilization of foreign assistance. Do you know the United States assisted Taiwan financially? They offer $100 million every year from 1955 to 1971. For those 16 years, because of the United States financial assistance, we were able to stabilize our financial situation. And that is why, one word I just want to tell you. As a Taiwanese diplomat, I am very proud to say that, to tell you that we have spared no efforts. Really, we utilize every penny of the budget to expand the international arena of our miserable nation. Because I thank you very much, and I open the floor for discussion. Thank you.
For the seminar, I'm Jasmine from Taipei Eco Private Senior High School, and I actually represent our school to have a meeting in the OECD organization. So it's actually also representing Taiwan to speak for the organization. And I want to ask that since countries in the OECD have to pay some of the percentage of their GNI for the organization, does Taiwan actually have to pay if like students are actually having a meeting in the organization, or Taiwan does not have to pay GNI? And what does GNI pay to the OECD organization is going to be used for? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. The OECD organizations only regulate a certain amount, like I just told you, 0.7% of GNI to international development and cooperation. As for the ways and how to implement international development according to individual nations' policy. Generally speaking, most countries, they allocate a certain percent of the budget for purely just for financial assistance. Some of them for infrastructure, some of them for capacity building. And in recent years, there has been trends and for the international development and cooperation to include more and more private sector or even non-governmental organizations. Speaking about non-governmental organizations, I have to say that Taiwan, the Republic of China, is a mature civil society. So we have now more than 3,000 non-governmental organizations. They regularly participate in international meetings and events. Some of the Taiwanese NGOs, they are in humanitarian assistance. some of them in medical services, even in the protection of human rights, especially for like child marriages or other human rights related issues. Those NGOs, they are more and more asking the government to allocate them more budget or to join the government for the implementation of international development and cooperation. So your question is simple. No, there is no strict regulations for individual nations for implementation of their budget of international development. Okay? Other questions? Please.
Mr. President, Your Excellency, my name is Arthur Chu.
I know you.
Yeah, thank you. So I do want to ask you, thank you.
Slow. I want everybody to understand your question.
Thank you, okay. So I personally know the ambassador from St. Lucia and Tuvalu and also Belize. And whenever we meet, like sometimes they hold like Independence Day like banquet. And so they invited me there. And then they always, like emphasize on these like smaller countries, they always talk about their tourism. So like they always say, traveling there is a good thing, and it's like the experience will be so great. Like the food, the scenery, and like they try to attract tourists there because I think that's one of their GDP, like a source of GDP. So you used to live in one of you used to be stationed and serve as our ambassador to one of the our ally countries. So what is it like to be actually on the ground living in those kind of countries? Like because sometimes do you have to cope with some sort of, like maybe it's going to be inconvenient living there or like electricity or something like that, like or the safety. I just want to know about like what is it like to live there? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your question. As you know, that every country has its levels of development. Those ally countries, especially Southern Pacific or in the Caribbean Sea, most of them are developing countries. So as diplomatic allies, we not only assist them in infrastructure, we also assist them in soft power. As you just mentioned, those countries promoting tourism very well. Tourism industry is one of their major financial resources. And how we do it, I give you one example. The country which I stationed from 2008 to 2010, that is an island nation. It was sugarcane production area for UK during the colonial age. And then they would like to develop tourism. So they utilize the railroad around the island to promote tourism. And Taiwan's technical mission, our agricultural mission, we assist, cooperate with the government. We establish a tourism demonstration agricultural farm in the intersection of the railroad, so as to not only demonstrate the effectiveness of our agricultural assistance, so as to demonstrate to the foreign visitors that this country can produce this and that. As you know, Caribbean nations' weather is hot and humid, and we introduce pineapple production there and benefit from the humid weather. We produce even sweeter pineapple than what we do here. For instance, we have sugarcane pineapple, we have pineapple, we have apple pineapple, we have all kinds, banana pineapple, all kinds of pineapple we introduce in that island. We assist those countries develop their tourism industry. To specifically tell you that, we especially established a farm during the tourism route a so-called banana farm. One banana with more than 100 bananas on the tree, and which attract many foreigners coming to visit. In other words, we assist our airlines not only financially, we also introduce our soft power for them, and we utilize their competitive advantage to develop them, to assist them during the process of the development.
As the state actor, as the ambassador of Taiwan, you have mentioned a lot of things or help that we have gave to our allies and around the world and all those things we have done to them. But as a state actor, do you believe that national interest is more important than assisting them, since all actions should pay focus to our national interests?
I want you to clarify what is your definition for national interest and what is our national interest?
Yeah, sure. Since I'm not really...
Okay,
yeah.
Very simple. Our national interest is to survive. Okay? We want to continue to be a sovereign state. We want our citizens to be happy to live on this island and to reach out to the world. And what you need to develop your foreign connection. You need diplomacy. You need to promote your national interest to them. So the interest of our airline nation is also our interest, because we provide them with agricultural technologies, with ICT technologies. And doesn't mean that we are going to eliminate our competitors. On the contrary, we expand our national strength. We expand our national advantage to those countries, like my country, share the same values with us. Why not? Because this is the global village, as I just mentioned in the very beginning, right? Countries have to work together for the common development of the whole world. That is the essence of so-called national interest. And sure, every country has its own national interest. The Republic of China, the same. But if you want to elaborate more about what our national interest, that depends. Different items and different subjects. But now we are talking about the Republic of China. We have to expand our international relations, given the difficult situation. We are not a member in the United Nations. You guys are not able to participate in these special agencies under the United Nations. You cannot apply jobs to work there. But this is unfair to you. So the destiny, the future of our city is under the hands of you. So you have to work together. Okay? Please.
Professor, I want to ask some questions about university cooperations. For example, like diplomacy, usually you need to meet different friends from the United States or Japan and so on. But how can the MOFA do this kind of facility to urge us to have a chance to cooperation or even have a course together? Or because right now, as my personal experience in our school, right now because the international students are lower and lower now, and the reason I believe is we are not attractive as before. So what kind of suggestion you might suggest us? Thank you.
Okay, I believe that Taiwan is quite competitive in terms of attracting foreigners coming to reside or to study, because we have the most open society. We have no control whatsoever to impose on any foreigners. So it is a joint effort for all of us to attract more foreigners coming to Taiwan. As you know that our government has invested a lot. We allocate a huge amount of budget in attracting foreign students coming to study here. You know, attracting foreign students, this is also kind of diplomacy. You mentioned about how can you contribute, how can you play a role. The foreign relations varies on different fields. Not only diplomats as I, but also for the normal people. As a students, you engage in students' exchanges, activities. This is also scope of national diplomacy. Businessmen, the same. You promote Taiwan's products, you earn foreign reserve, you make international friends, you popularize Taiwanese products. This is also diplomacy. Even if you are a popular singer, right, like Mayday, they visit Canada, visit United States, and then people there to know that Taiwan is the base of Chinese popular music, right? Because of what? Because this is a free country, free society. People are creative enough. So that is why we are leading the popular culture of all the Chinese society. And this is also diplomacy. So diplomacy is not limited only to diplomacy. Now we are promoting, we encourage all walks of life to play a role, to promote Taiwan, to promote the Republic of China. So that's why any position, if you evolve in foreign relations, you are doing the diplomacy. And our forum also play the similar role. We want to encourage more and more people speaking English so as to get you engaged in the beautiful potential outside world. That is also kind of diplomacy. Okay? Other questions, please. Microphone closer, speak loudly, clearly.
Okay, it is a simple question. I'm just wonder if there's any possibilities that in the future our airline may increase, or we can get more international recognition, formal international recognition in the future, given to those advantages you have mentioned, and also we've learned from the last lecture that China may have done some incorrect behavior, and that it's their disadvantage, and so maybe in the future we can get some formal recognition abroad, from your personal perspective.
Yeah, I mentioned diplomatic airlines are important for us, for Taiwan's foreign relations. That doesn't mean diplomatic airlines is the only group could assist Taiwan. The international cooperation development is for the purpose not only to consolidate our diplomatic airlines, but also to facilitate our overseas international participation. We provide our experience, development experiences, not limited only to our diplomatic airlines. We also apply it to like-minded nations, like South Asia, like Indonesia, like Thailand, like Vietnam. We have many NGOs, they are implementing different kind of projects in countries which we do not maintain diplomatic ties. You mentioned that we could increase the diplomatic airlines in the future. That is our expectation. Given the facts, the reality of the geopolitics, we have no other way but only to unite and to earn international friendship. So you are the future of the Republic of China.